I figured I'd go over how to draw the various characters on this channel for 2 reasons. 1, I want to, and 2, maybe as you watch my process with these characters, it'll help things click. I don't know in what area, but I swear I've always learned the most by watching other people draw their stuff, rather than to break everything down into individual tutorials. So for any of you who learn in that way, or just want to kind of try drawing my characters, this is for you. Today I'm going to go over how to draw a pen. Let's start off with what I consider to be a basic version of pen that you'll see in nearly every video they show up in. I always start off with a circle for the head. From there we can start on their bangs. Pen's right curl, our left side, their right, is always a bit bigger than the left side curl. They could be the same size, I suppose, but I usually end up drawing them with this kind of size ratio. Then to connect the curls, I had 2 little spirals. So in total, I've got 4 different spirals making up the bangs. At that point, I go in and I add the ears. The ears are just a simple sort of C shape, very basic. I'm not going for a lot of detail. I add the ears first because that gives me a marker to go in and add the hairlines, those little swoops on either side of the head that makes it so Pen doesn't look like they have a mullet. Those are very important in my mind. Speaking of hair, this is when I add the rest of their hair. There are 2 options, feminine and masculine. When presenting feminine, Pen's hair is shoulder length and it's curled outwards. In order to make that effect, I start with a very top-heavy S sort of line. Then I make this sort of wave sort of shape to indicate the direction of the hair. When presenting masculine, Pen's hair is short and just a little bit spiked. So to achieve this look, I make one curved line from about the jawline up to above the ear, and then that same wave line is used for the direction of the hair, only this time I'm using it at a different angle. Instead of horizontal, it's vertical. For the rest of the tutorial, I'm going to continue with a female presenting Pen. Her outfit is most complicated in my opinion, and thus I think there's the most to learn. We're really close to finishing the head silhouette. We just need some horns, and that's super easy. Right on top of her head, I add an upside down V. The horns can be as round or sharp as you want. I draw them rounder because in my head it looks nicer, and the horns are the same length, but because of the hair height difference, one shows up more than the other, and that's perfectly okay. Time to move on to the rest of the body. I add a neck. It's just a simple U, and then a collar, which is 2 half circles. I also finished the hairline so that it actually goes behind the neck, but that was a spacing thing. The body is the part I have the hardest time with, so usually I sketch it out first. The line I use for the shoulders goes just under the highest part of the collar to indicate that it's under the fabric. The sides of the body are lined up with the ears, and the bottom of this body sketch is gonna be relative to the top, the same proportion as the head. So it's gonna be, the head is half of this, and then the body sketch is half of the art piece at this moment. That's by no means how actual anatomy works, but it's kind of how my art works with this style. It's a cartoon, it's okay. I mark the body portion in half, and that's where the shoulder pads are going to connect to the rest of the outfit. The vest starts coming together with a big U from one collar to that middle line, then back up to the other collar, and you just split that bad boy in half and add some buttons. Then I have these curved lines that go from the top of that top line to the middle line, and that's to indicate that the vest is in fact a vest and not just like a box. Now, the bottom half of that box sketch for the body gets cut in half again, and this is where the vest splits apart. That upside down V is going to go in and meet into the curved bottom of the vest. Once I've got all of that sketched out, I like to add the waist to the hips. This is part of the skirt, and because Pen's body is pretty much a rectangle, the hips aren't really that much bigger than the sides of the body, if at all. Add an oval to make that flared out skirt part of the skirt, and then add lines, and you're done as far as that goes. In my head, the skirt breaks down into about 8 of those striped sections, but I'm no fashion designer, so, you can make it more or less. Now the head's finished, the body's complete, it's time for the face. I don't know why, but the face always ends up being the very last thing that I draw. Pretty much consistently, it's head, body, and then face. Pretty much every single time, with every single character. To start Pen's face, I marked down the nose. Her nose is round. I pretty much draw a full circle to get the shape right. Once her nose is set, I can then work around that. We can add the mask. Pen has to have some sort of mask. It's required. Even when I draw her in outfits that aren't this typical one, there is some equivalent of a mask. So it's essential. You have to give her a mask. This mask shape is like a wide V, and then a very tall and skinny V on top. And that's the middle part, I guess. Then you just connect the top and the bottom with a curved line. It has to be curved, and it has to be pretty widely curved to give adequate space for her eyes. In the blank space on the forehead goes this little symbol. It's basically 4 triangles in a circle. I start with 1 triangle, then I break it into 4 pieces, and then the circle above just to top it all off. Now, for Pen's eyes, her eyes are pretty round. I talk about eye shape in my eye tutorial video, so you can check that out if you want to learn more. But yeah, just basically a round eye. And then her eyebrows, they're just half circles. It's pretty simple, very basic eyebrow shape, but still kind of unique-ish. Female Pen has long eyelashes, because why not? It's fun. I like it. 4 long eyelashes stick out amongst the normal ones, and those 4 have dots on the end of them. That's just how it is. They're cute. And then you just repeat it on the other side. I moved these eyes down because I felt I hadn't quite placed them right initially, and having moved them down, she looks a little bit more proportionate to me. As for a mouth, any big smile will do for Pen, but it is essential that you do not forget the gap in her front teeth. Pen without a tooth gap just isn't Pen. I don't always do it because of space and time, but technically she has braces. So if you wanted to try your hand out at that, you could add them. You'll see that in some of my videos, she does have braces because I'm up close enough that you would see her teeth well enough to see the braces, whereas in this photo, it's really far, or the mouth is really small, so adding braces would just clutter up the smile. And that's really the only difference as to why I would add her braces or not. Finally, you just add some arms with long fingerless gloves. I say long meaning that they hit kind of the forearm. Just like that, we've got a finished Pen. Critical features that I can't forget when I draw Pen: the goat horns. She's gotta have those. Her mask, absolutely essential. If she's going out girly, she's got those long eyelashes. Again, that tooth gap is so important. The shoulder pads are quintessential to her silhouette, so to forget those would be a major blunder on my part. Fingerless gloves are also important. I try my best to give Pen at least some kind of glove when I draw them in different outfits. I'm not really going to focus on the lower half because it's just drawing a basic leg. If you want to learn how to do that, you can check out my leg tutorial video where I go over some tips that I have found helpful. That being said, there are 2 parts of Pen's bottom half that I feel the need to mention. So here's a full body Pen, right? The polka dot tights. When in this outfit, those polka dot tights are kind of mandatory, at least in my head, but they're not near as mandatory as the toe and the heel cutouts. Pen is not a shoe type of person, so the less they have on their feet, the better. Obviously, some occasions call for shoes, and in that case, she'd wear them, no bigs. But if it can be avoided, it will be avoided. And that's how I draw Pen. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that you got something out of this video. I don't really have a specific desired lesson or outcome, so I'd love to know what you learned in this video. Be sure to check out the other tutorials I mentioned in this video as well if you want to go into more specifics. They're linked in the description. I'll see you all next week. Bye!